We are live.
It is April 13th, 5 o'clock, open up the city council meeting. Stand for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move. Approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is made and second to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Approve the minutes of the March 23rd meeting.
So moved. I'll second.
Motion is made and second to approve the minutes of the March 23rd meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Approve the special meeting minutes of April 7th meeting.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the special meeting on April 7th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Old business.
You asked me to take a look at the issue about a vacant council position.
Oh, yeah.
So the law on that is pretty clear. If we have if we have more than 2 years of a council seat left, we have to have a special election. But if you have less than 2 years, and I think this came up actually when Terry got appointed, that's why we could appoint somebody. If you have less than 2 years, the state law provides that the council make the appointment to fill the vacancy, except in the case, we basically have to do it. Because the council must fill the vacancy.
Okay.
But we don't, that person would only stay in office until the end of the year. So I don't know what kind of process you want to do to fill a vacancy. We can't have, I don't think you're gonna have a special election for 6 months. So, I guess the next step is, I think we've already accepted the resignation, and it says, that we, should declare a vacancy and go from there with, how you got, whatever process you use, that's up to the council to do, to fill that seat.
Okay.
So we gotta put something in the water bill or the city bill or something, to let everybody and tell them know that there's,
Yeah, we could.
or put it up on I suppose we could put it on the ads too on the TV. That kind of goes everywhere. Huh. What is that, 6
And
months?
in the newspaper.
Well, no, it's whatever process, there's no, particular process you have to use. You can,
Multiple,
excuse me?
if you, I don't know what you mean by process.
Okay, so whatever process the council wants to use, if they want to advertise, they just want to ask somebody, or if they want to, but we really need to fill it,
Okay.
okay? So I guess that's what I mean by process, Patrice. There's no set procedure that you have to use to fill then what would happen is somebody then would be nominated, and then the council then vote yes or no, and then he or she would then assume office until the end of the year. Until the election, correct.
So we could go back and look at, write-in ballots.
You can do, again, there's no,
Yeah.
Somebody shows interest in it.
Yeah, that would be something we could look at, Phil.
Yeah.
That's on file, we can go back and look through them.
Sorry, so I guess maybe, well, I mean, maybe I don't know if you wanna appoint a couple people to a committee or something, trying to recruit somebody or, bring something for us to the council, but kinda nice to do, be sooner rather than later.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
well, if we need somebody, we're gonna have to get somebody soon. I don't know, if there's, I mean, I'll help if there's records, we'll go through the records and look and contact people and find out if they're interested.
Okay, well, that's, I guess we
It'd
got
be
one
great for
volunteer.
somebody, because, you know, then they could do it for 6 months, and then they know whether they liked it or not when they're
Right.
on or off. Yeah.
Patrice, do you wanna go with them all?
Yeah, we can take a look.
Okay. Thank you. We'll go into new business center, is that it?
That's it.
New business, engineer updates. Stranger.
Push and hold the button.
Good evening. So a few updates, on a few of the projects that we have going on. So Loyola Water Main Loop contract is still just waiting for tanks to warm up for like an access fee and all that in a day. Next, Lumberville Sanitary District, I did attach, the meeting minutes, but the big things that folks are trying to do right now is, the district as a whole is working on engaging Winthrop and Weinstein. And so they are attorneys, but they would be acting as advocates, so consider it more like legal counsel and lobbying on behalf of the district. And so there is a letter in there that if you would, if you have any questions, I can certainly answer them to my ability, but we're looking for a $4,500 fee to cover the city, I believe it was through the end of June. So they would provide the legal counsel and then vouch for the project on behalf of the district to representatives of the House and Senate.
$4,500 for the local district.
That, I believe, is for every community. And so I think they split it out.
You just keep on the money.
You know, this is, it's not going to be.
Well, I guess I thought we needed to kind of keep pushing. You
Well,
know?
that, it would be nice to have somebody that wants to get there and represent us in Congress. I mean, it's not any of us that are gonna be able to get up there and do that, so. And it's gonna take a lot. This is a big deal.
A large number.
And somebody knows how to push, somebody knows how to make the contact, somebody, you know, yeah. And then we already say at one of the other meetings that we were going to agree to it, basically. and-
Yeah.
We already approved it, so.
You did.
Yeah.
So that's good to go. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Fourth Street and Broadway, I did, it is still a work in progress, but did want to give you a little bit of an update on where plans are and kind of what we're seeing as we're starting to go through some of the designs. So I did attach 4 sheets. The first 2 are utility pages, the second 2 are the preliminary drawing pages. So on 4th Street, that one's pretty well what we talked about. I was just talking with Jason here, it sounds like there's a storm structure. Yep. So that would be 4th Street. Sounds like there was a storm structure at the southwest intersection that had collapsed.
Yep.
And so what we plan to do is we plan to replace that structure and just make a little patch around it. So should be relatively simple to include into the plans.
Jason, isn't that a brick one?
That's a brick.
So, yeah, you're gonna put a bell, right a bell in there.
Yep. We'll do a brand new precast structure and then just tie it on to the existing pipe. And then whenever 3rd Street, if something happens there, then we can look at, replacing lines further down. But for now, this will get us where we need to go. So, then if you flip to the second page, that one is Broadway. And so for reference, north is to the left of the page. So what we're looking at doing, and this one is probably a little bit more of a work in progress on the utility aspect, but a couple things I did want to bring up in this one in particular is the get it closer to my mouth. into the west side. So right now, there is just a clean out that ends the sanitary line. And I believe at some point in the relative near future, from what it sounds like, he would like to split the lot to the north. And at that point, it would need sanitary service. And I believe the city is responsible for providing service to those lots when that happens. And so the thought was, well, why don't we just extend that sanitary line a little bit further to the north? So what I'm proposing in this, because the angle of the existing sanitary line was kind of skewed, what I was planning on doing was just replacing that, clean out with the structures. And so now what I'm thinking of doing is just, moving the one structure all the way to the end of the cul-de-sac, and then replacing the line back to the existing manhole just as.
That's what's in the red now.
Yes, yep. That is that right. So, working through a little bit of the water, but for the stormwater, sounds like Soil and Water Conservation District, and Jason, I think he was just having some preliminary discussions with, them, but they may be doing some work within that swale behind the houses on the east side. So we may not be able to need, that incorporated into our work, but still waiting to hear a little bit more. I know MinDOT's also reviewing that general area, but it sounds like they're gonna potentially reestablish the ditch back through there, so just waiting to hear a little bit more on that, but tentatively that's. So again, with this street, kind of like we discussed previously, we're going full width street, and then it'll narrow down, about a third of the way up the street. So again, there'll just be parking on the east side all the way through, but on the west side, beyond the paver, to the north, that will not, have parking available. So, we are looking at some of the storm design right now. And so what you're seeing in the middle, the green line, that would be our new storm sewer. So what we're looking at right now is, I think we're gonna need to upsize the line that goes to the east in between the two houses, and outlets in the ditch there. So planning on putting a couple inlets, because there's not a lot of cover to get through there. And it's taking flow from both the north and the south side, so you're taking on a lot of water. And I'm sure that's probably why there's some back up through there, so. Still got a little bit of siding to do, but that's preliminarily what we're looking at, getting through there. To the south, at the very south end of the project, still, that one's probably the biggest question mark, because that one does take so much drainage, from the west side of town, or I guess, basically past the baseball fields and on the west side of the school. That whole chunk drains to that pipe, actually. And so we just wanna make sure we're sizing that appropriately, as that one goes through. So that one could potentially need to have an upsize further down the line, or we look at like a relief line, but, a little bit more to come on that one.
So with the sewer line between the two houses, you're just gonna add another inlet basically, and that's gonna basically, handle all the water and drain all the water,
And that's what we're looking at.
looking at.
Yep. And so basically trying to get the outlet pipe upside so that one can handle that much flow going through the intakes. And then we'd add intakes on both sides of the street. And so on the grading page, I know it's a little tough to read, but planning on reestablishing a crown in the street. So that lower part would take in some of the flow on either side of it.
We can send again, what we're doing with the line there at Howgens. We're moving,
So right now, we're going to extend the sanitary line further to the north. So it just stops at the clean out, so you can kind of see there's there's kind of a gray line.
we're extending it to the north, I see,
So is that gonna be
currently,
any,
this way, or that, yeah. What is that gonna do for you?
So that was something that was kind of looking for input on. Tom would like to split his lot to the north sometime in the near future, and then he would need sewer
So I got a question for you on
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Is that sewer gonna stay in the ground? Or is it supposed to be? I thought the reason they stopped where it did is because it's getting too close to being out of the ground.
No, it'll stay standard, deep enough, I mean, right now, it'll be about, the way we got it laid out, it's 6 foot deep, so it's not real deep, but it will be able to stay there. That was my update on Fourth and Broadway, if there's any questions, I can certainly answer, but again, still kind of working through a lot of the details, and there'll be a lot more pages, but we'll do some. Then the last one I do have, I did, have a call from Chad over at MnDOT. They have some preliminary plans for the roundabout, I did not include that in the packet, but, this is just a draft, and so we asked me to not pass that around too much, I can leave a couple copies if you'd like. But essentially what's going on is the city has a water main that runs to the east across 58 right now. That's gonna be right where the roundabout is going to sit. And the state does not allow any utility to be under the roundabout circle itself. And so what that'll entail is us rerouting the water main, probably to the north, so that we can stay out of their roundabout area. So it will likely be a cost to the city, but it's something that we're gonna have to work through with MnDOT on timing. Their preference would be for us to reroute that water line before their project. And so their project is planned for 24, so this could be a next year thing if we would like it to be. Couple options on that, we could reroute it ourselves, get it out of the way, be done, or we could try to incorporate it into the state. But a little bit of extra coordination on that. I believe the city is responsible for that relocation cost.
Is that, what is that, that service is 3 residents out there? Is that what it is?
So, yeah,
That hydrant dead at Elvers?
I believe it's live,
It
it's
is,
actually fed by like a 4-inch line.
Okay, that's maybe what it was, because we had the fire out there, I knew we couldn't use that for the department, we had the fire out there. I don't know what would be best on that.
Yeah,
I think it'll be about a wash.
right, because they're not really gonna have much for a utility crew or the street project, because it's just gonna be a road crew and they're building the roundabout itself. They will probably have some culvert work, so they may have a utility crew out there, but, probably just a little bit of a cost estimate exercise on that front. So, this is still just a draft alignment, they're still working through some things, but we wanna bring that up and at least put it on your radar.
That's gonna be our expense, to go ahead and do that.
Like I said, unless we have to really do something.
Now,
But, it typically is the city's expense.
But you kind of had a drawing of how to do that, that there wouldn't be a lot of disruption to go around that,
And so the thought would be,
you bore it.
you could bore under the highway if we were to do so before the project came through. And we would open cut some, you bore under 58, so you're not impeding traffic or having a big detour for that, but, and then just open cutting and tying it. So there will be some cost, but, you know, that's what I'm-
well, it's gonna have to be done, it's all there is to it, right? And that would be a 4-inch or 6-inch or
We would bump that up to 6.
6, yeah. And then they could run that 6 to the hydrant as well, and that
Yep.
might make better sense, because it's kind of obsolete now the way it is, so. Sure.
Yeah, that's all I had for tonight, unless there's any questions, anything I can answer?
Well, thank you. Spring quotes awarded to, you got them, Jill, yet, or? We got 2 quotes, one from, Fitzgerald and one from Thompson Enterprises. They were quotes that all we have to do is accept the quotes because it's not a bid. So we can do them, use either one. One's busy, we can go with the other one.
These are quotes for,
For rock and backhoe work and backhoe, dozer, grader, dump trucks.
that's as needed kind of thing, or do you
Yep.
have?
Class 5, number 2 crushed rock, 1.5 inch minus, 3 inch if we need it, screened rock if we need it.
Do we have to, approve one or the other? or
No, we can
both?
approve that we received them, and that way we don't have to pick. But it's gotta have a motion to approve the quotes. That's why they're quotes, not bids.
I move that we
We're gonna send them to Dick to look over the quotes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second to accept the quotes for city work. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. And
Opposed?
what was the two? Tom?
Fitzgerald and Tomford. Let's see the other one here, so we'll go on the building permits for Bigelow Homes. It's 2 permits here for the same thing that they got up there now.
It's for one building,
No, 2 different.
2 buildings?
Yep. So
Two
the
townhomes.
Okay, I didn't,
4 lots, 2 buildings.
okay. I didn't understand.
Yeah, because the one was 308 11th Street, and the next one was 310 Pleasant.
Yeah.
They're 2 different ones.
No, this is the one building.
What's on the one?
This is one building.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it takes 2 lots.
Oh, 310 and 308?
Yeah, it's, each one of them lots is divided into 2. We sold them a lot for 50,000.
So,
That'll put a twin home on it, that's what this is, a twin home for both sides. It's a twin home, just like that's there now,
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah.
They're just going to put the one to the next one in, the second one that they have,
Okay, okay.
basically, that's what it is.
One building.
Yeah, it'll be one building with 2 different addresses.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Is there a start date on that, or anything, or is it just as they get approval kind of thing?
No, they don't have, they didn't say a start date, they need approval first, and then have to go to the
Yeah. How long are these good for? That's
Yeah.
a year. Or they can go anytime the next year.
They actually have already called, go for one state and have everything marked. But then because after I was talking to Bill, excuse me, when they wanted to build, and they said, well, we can wait till we can prove it here, so.
Yeah.
We're gonna start as soon as September. You wanna see this,
yes, 309 is just the one, the third address that brings the 2 together, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, 309 is the other side of the street.
Oh, that's what it is, okay, so 3, oh, okay, sure, so they are still using this one lot, then, right?
Yeah.
So that's,
Well, yeah, but, will we have, somebody checking that they're building according to required specs, or?
Well, the county is our building inspector.
Okay,
But we usually go up when they stake it out and make sure they got the setbacks right and everything.
that's what I was wondering.
That's Jason.
Jason will make sure that gets checked, okay. Maybe that didn't have any issues.
no, I can't see it all, so. No.
have original ones, not any kind of.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I thought, maybe I just.
Oh, I can see it.
Great.
Did we suspect some of these houses before that, like how they were gonna be built and how they're gonna be laid out?
Yeah, they gave us a packet, like of different ideas, when Travis Goodman was here.
Okay.
And then the council did say, you know, acknowledge that they were gonna keep with, natural tones and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I guess that if I pull those out and if you wanna take a look at them and make sure that that still looks like one of the options that they gave us before I sent it.
I was just looking at the layout, I thought that it was familiar to all these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the same one the way you talked to me about.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would assume, since they have so many here, why would they all of a sudden just try to do them, so. But I do have that packet that, cause they left those behind of ideas that they would go with.
Yeah, it is the same.
I'll make a motion to approve the building permits from Bigelow Homes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second to approve the building permits for Bigelow Homes. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Building permit for Roy Lodemeyer. That's this one. Remember what we're looking at. This is gonna be up behind his shop.
Straight west or
Yeah.
behind it, this is straight west. Oh. That'll be slab on grade then, or what?
I'm thinking that's what it was.
Sure looks like it. I don't know.
Says it on the permit, build new slab on grade
Oh,
house
sure, okay.
up behind his lot. Another like that?
You know where I live?
Yeah.
He's got that building right behind me,
Oh, okay.
and it's to the west.
Oh, okay,
It's like right off of number 9.
yeah. So this doesn't have like, are there covenants or like that, or supposed to be aware of?
Not there.
Is he gonna, Carrie, can I ask you a question? So how are we gonna extend it? Does he got sewer and water there now or not? Or has he already got that? And then is he gonna come off of number 9 then, or what's?
That's what I was looking at. The way that looks there, he is.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, because is this his, that's his existing shed and this is where the house is going? Another driveway coming in, is that what it is, or? I just can't see it, because that looks to me like the driveway you just put in and that's his garage, and then there'd be another driveway.
Yeah, garage here. This is the second one. The files right here.
Yep, yep,
It's
okay.
gonna be right here. the
Oh,
file.
okay, so it's gonna be way up there. Nice.
Yep, yep,
I sure think that'll be nice.
yep, yep.
'86 by '54, it says.
Not a really big place. 36 by 54.
86.
Oh, 80 something.
Something.
I heard that wrong. That makes it way better.
Leave them on the spot.
Are there setbacks to be aware of here too and those kind of things?
Yeah, he'd have to abide by whether our city setbacks and side setbacks, I think he's got noted on that sheet of the, that appear to fit from the property lines.
60 by 50 by 9 by 112.
Typically what they do, they approve it, assuming they fit all the side setbacks, and I I think that we've done before, I don't know if Jason's aware of this, but typically we ask the maintenance supervisor to go up and, when they got the house staked out, where the lines are, so they know that they're within those city required setbacks.
Sure.
Because there's also a water easement up there too, on the north side of that lot.
There is.
That water line goes from up on 10th Street down between them two lots and then comes out on Brenda Lane.
Oh, that's, it does.
Yeah,
Yep.
for that loop.
Mhm.
Then the sewer goes straight in from into Brenda Lane there. There's a manhole that stops right there.
He's already got it up in the shed, right? Go that far? Or it stops and set on Brenda?
No, it stops at past Brenda Lane.
Oh, okay,
But I think he's got it to his shop,
okay.
but I ain't gonna say.
I have to look in the map.
Yeah,
Cause I don't know them well enough yet. but-
I can't remember, to be honest with you, so.
No, I don't know.
So can I get a motion on Roy Lodemar's if it meets all setbacks?
Yeah, I'll motion.
I'll say that.
Motion is made and second to approve the building permit for Roy Lodemar, provided it meets all the setbacks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Public Works update. We, had interviews today, and we talked heavily about it. I think we want to offer the job to Todd Majerus. And he's willing to come and work for us, so. Said he could start on Monday if we approve it, so.
Yeah, he's familiar with everything through the county and stuff. He's working there, so.
And he's got a CDL, he's done all the maintenance stuff, so.
Oh,
You thought it was a good interview? You were here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, you know, too?
I was in on it too, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess I would not have a problem with Todd working. He's a good
You wanna make a motion then?
guy. Yeah, I'll make a motion for him.
We got a second?
Second.
Motion made second to offer the job to Todd Majerus. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. City Hall construction. Actually, Josh is supposed to be here tonight with plans and the cost, but I think we gotta table that because he's gonna get the cost to have his building out here, or have in the garage, because Jason and Todd will go out to that other building as soon as they get that office finished. It's just about there. And then get them out here, then we're gonna find something for the gas too. Then we can open this up and close this off.
They're gonna have Wi-Fi and so on out there, right?
There already is.
They're,
Yeah.
Oh, there is, but we've been working on it the last week or so,
But it's designed for out there already.
Right,
Yeah.
it's designed.
So it is now.
We've been working with Rivera heavily, he's been down here, and renting computers to put in Wi-Fi over there. So, when we get some help, we can focus on some of that too.
will they get an office or you're gonna be there or something like that, or
There already is an office over there, it just needs to be finished.
finished?
Yeah.
So that will be, I've seen that, so, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a few days of work, and then the phone and internet will have to be installed.
Anything else you're thinking we can do over there?
Not right now, I think we're, maybe the workbench and stuff with that, it's all stuff that we can work on throughout the summer when we get caught up.
There is a bathroom in that over there, so.
Maybe at some time, point maybe years, a shower would be nice or something. Get that in, not now, but sometime.
So your plans now sound good to you and it'll work.
Yep.
Yeah, and then as far as the police department, they'll be bringing in probably next meeting. You know, just to look at, you guys can look over, and if we wanna go with it, we can, if we don't, that's fine.
So we're gonna table it for the next meeting for now.
Part-time summer help mowing wage. Sue, do you have them in here, or is it really the same as
It's, right after the building permits. Yep, so keep going a little bit further. Oh, that's by far.
This is the one right here. Is it on the other side of there?
No, I got
Do we have a name of somebody?
it. No wonder I couldn't see it.
Ebony.
That's fine.
So it says April through August. Have we advertised anything yet or no?
Yeah.
We didn't. Do we have anybody in mind or?
We have, one application in, and then, I have one more that's interested, and, who's, gonna talk to his parents tonight. And with that, the one application that we have in, it's an older gentleman, and he said that if, a younger person shows interest, he wouldn't mind, giving it to that person. He just wants to be able to help, the city. And the other person, currently is 15 years old, and he will be turning 16 in July. And so, lawn mowing might be an issue for that age, until July. But he was also, his mom called me today. I spoke with his mom this morning, and then his mom had called his dad this morning. His mom had called me this afternoon and asked some more questions about it, and mentioned that he has some other lawn mowing jobs, and he wouldn't necessarily want a full 40 hour a week, but he would be interested in filling out an application and seeing what is available to him. So I guess we do really kind of the two people, and I guess
Have we put anything up to the school on this?
no, not at school.
We should first.
Couldn't hurt.
Not gonna hurt much yet if we don't do it by April.
We don't even start until the lawn mowing season, probably, I would say the end of May, because it's the whole spring. We're not gonna be mowing within the next 3 weeks anyway, heavy anyway. But I do think you should advertise it at school, because I've had people look, have interest in it, call, but they have not come down to fill out applications, that help them. They come down to City Hall and do your homework.
Alright.
I told two people that same thing. They called me on it. I said, go down and fill an application out.
And so I don't know if they're having trouble finding it, it's on the website, or if they just, they haven't had time, because school's been busy lately with, sports and end of year things, that's.
And they don't have to be from town or anything, right?
No.
But preferably 16.
I prefer 16, I
Well, it
guess.
just says minimum qualifications and experiences is right in here. It must be 16 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what the league suggested too.
Absolutely.
What?
That's what the League of Minnesota
That
says.
is-
Then just
So I'll keep it posted and continue on. So we should probably start working on a wage for them. So when they start calling, they're gonna ask how much and,
At the bottom here it
Said
says
14, yeah.
yeah, so, I mean, is that what you're gonna go with?
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know, do we hook this in with lifeguard wages? Maybe that's next on the list.
Right, it would be completely different.
Yeah, but if you're offering lifeguard wages, some of them been here 3-4 years.
No, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna,
Say
yeah.
that again? If-
I said if these here should be matching these, some of these been here 3-4 years,
Yes.
is what I'm getting at, instead of this here.
Right? Well, we can keep them the same,
I mean, it's something to look at.
right? Definitely look into that.
What do we think about this in 14 then?
Well,
So for the seasonal worker, we thinking 14 or what do we?
well, then you got up the seasonal worker for the swimming
Yeah.
pool?
You don't wanna, yeah, you don't wanna bring all that.
That's what I'm getting at.
I think you should table that way,
I would-
because,
I
well,
think-
because, you know, lifeguard, they're responsible for kids and everything else.
Yes.
And to,
Yes.
and not to diminish all the activities of a seasonal maintenance worker, but there's a little bit of, at most, I'm looking at the list from the 21, every one of those people were females. And then,
Tori was receiving $15.
I'm looking at
We upped
20,
hers to 15
Yeah,
last year.
I didn't remember that, but I'm just looking at what's in here,
I
yeah.
thought we did, yeah.
So I'm just a little concerned that you might have a little bit of backlash if you do that, just, so maybe you wanna leave that open until you figure out.
I think, yeah, that's a good idea, just kinda table it, and go through and see, because we definitely have to keep it fair.
So Tori does the hiring for the pool? I mean, that doesn't come through the city.
We just approve it when she hires it.
When she does.
What?
She
They
know,
haven't got an application even yet, right?
It's been posted, for 2 weeks, and we have so far gotten 0 applicants. And, the ones that she has reached out to or have reached out to her, said they have stated that there's no way that they would come here for $10 an hour.
That's what I'm thinking, we're gonna have to,
And she sent that on an email.
we're gonna have to up that. I mean, you know, McDonald's offering $20 an hour. And maybe we don't have to go that much, but I think in order to get people in, we're gonna have to raise those salaries, those wages.
Yeah.
Because I know that last year, the pool was closed a few different times because of lack of lifeguards. And currently, we have money tied into that, so I know it will cost money for lifeguards, but if the pool is not open, you're not making any money either.
Yeah, and, you know, the pools are money losing, you know, ventures, but at the same time, it enhances our community and, I think we wanna keep it going if we can, and, I think I totally understand, you know, them being able to find something else somewhere else at a better wage than what this is.
so I got a question on that. Are we charging like $2 a day for,
I don't know what the pool charges.
because we might have to bring it up $1 or so a day.
Mhm.
Maybe the pass a little higher,
Yeah,
you know, to cover these, you know.
do that too.
I mean, we've had the same, I wrote a check on the same thing for about, I don't know how many years, you know.
And I don't think it would surprise people that these would go up right now with everything going up.
It doesn't say anything in here either about what the passes are or anything.
No.
Maybe we should say that, just so we don't lose our interest, and maybe a suggestion would be that the council is seriously looking about raising the rate, they probably think they have to, but we need to get a little more picture of what we're charging and everything else to make a better decision.
Right. I don't think we need to make any decisions tonight on this, because that's quite a bit to keep everybody happy here.
I think
Would,
So could, couldn't Tori come or, Zoom in with us maybe next meeting or something?
and maybe suggest what she thinks it's gonna take to,
we could have a meeting before with her, two of us.
Right.
Okay.
I'll do it if somebody wants to come with the other
who's on
person.
the pool committee?
Yeah.
You and me?
Oh,
Okay,
then I think you two should do it.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least meet with her, figure out.
Yeah, meet with her, just see what you can come up
Sure.
with.
Sure.
Something else to keep in mind with the pool, I talked to the chemical guy Monday. And there's gonna be some, a little bit higher cost of chemical this year also. We're full right now, so we have enough to start the pool, get it running. Probably till the end of June before we'll have to get more chlorine. But he did say there's gonna be a price increase, he wasn't sure what it was yet. So, that's something else to keep in mind. Pool pass.
Well, I think you should talk to her about wages for that and actually on price of maybe, Raise it,
Passes,
yeah.
yeah, no, we'll raise that, sure.
then you can come back and report us in 2 weeks.
Could we do that?
Thank you. Pool ordinance, in-ground and above ground.
I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at that, maybe they didn't, okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't, but I don't know if anybody else.
I wrote down you wanted to have a site plan and permit, you wanted to drain the street. Does anybody else have any other questions or concerns that they wanna bring forth? Otherwise, I'll bring it in final form the next meeting. If you have to change, we can always make it then too.
Right.
Is it okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Get it done.
There's
On
concern.
the mayor's concern, I would like to have address something.
Okay.
I have not said anything for a long time because I did not want to cause any more consternation or any more problems with Mr. Charles Ponslett. But there's been an ongoing saga in this community about his seatbelt ticket. I thought the seatbelt ticket thing was resolved back in December, but it just keeps on going. In March of this year, 2002, and I'm going to bring it up because it was important. He came into the city council chambers and he was being rude and obnoxious, and he made some comments of a sexual nature. Correct? I received a complaint from the employees. I called the mayor told me to call our city attorney who handles that issue, Julie Fleming Wolf, whom we're all familiar with. And she advised me that I needed to tell him in writing that he could not come into the city hall anymore unless he had an appointment, unless he had somebody was with him, so that this kind of conduct wouldn't take place. He was very unhappy with that, wrote a 6-page letter, and he again makes comments of a sexual nature and accusation right here. So he's not to come in City Hall. I didn't want to embarrass him, but that's just the way it was. The reason I'm bringing it up now is in December of last year, he wrote me a really insulting letter. I didn't pay no attention to it. But I wrote him a letter after I got that, and I said, I want no further contact with you in any way, shape, or form. On Monday or Tuesday, I can't think it was Monday or Tuesday. Monday, I came out to Goodhue to get my car at 8 o'clock and 8:15 in the morning, and Charlie I was walking his dogs, and I had my secretary with me, and she got a little scared because Charlie stopped right in front of Mitch's shop, and he started videotaping me. For what reason? I don't know. So I told him to stop, and he wouldn't do it. So I had enough. I told him I was gonna get a harassment restraining order against him, and I did. I'm handing a copy of that harassment restraining order. So a judge, an independent judge, has told him he cannot contact me, he cannot come to my house, he can't come to Mitch's shed. The reason I'm bringing this up, apparently he sent a mass text out to everybody again now today on this whole darn thing. I'm gonna state for the record, I have no personal vendetta against Charlie Poncelet. I wish him no ill will. I wish it was the same way, but he will not leave me alone. The only way I can see to do this is have a judge order this, that he cannot contact me for 2 years. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but I really don't know what else to do. So this is what I did. Frankly, I did it because I'm not scared of Charlie Poncelet, but my kids were real concerned because they knew this was all going on for a year and a half. And when he was up there videotaping me inside Mitch's shop, that was just enough. So I hope that this puts an end to it, because I don't want to go through any more. But that's only from one side, okay? If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go back to Vote Fest. 60.
Sure. This thing on?
Yep.
Perfect. Let's see here. Folks, city fireworks permit. So yeah, I was here before and got a permit for, the pyrotechnics, or they consider fireworks for a hairball show. But then the overall, Folks Fest as a whole does fireworks Saturday night down in the park here. So looking for approval for a fireworks permit for that show.
Yeah, and that's the same ones you use every year, the same.
Yep, same company,
Yep,
same everything, yep.
Yeah, I'll motion.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the fireworks permit for the Vote Fest. All in favor, say aye. That was for Saturday night.
Saturday, yeah.
Yep, they go off Saturday.
Okay. Motion's carried.
Okay. Next thing on here was regarding the power panel on the old City Hall building. So it's been a big saga, I'm sure some of you guys know. It's been a hassle dealing with the whole thing, but I guess I was just questioning is the city we're looking at retaining the meter somewhere. So because we still need power for the food vendors at Folks Fest. So we know it can't stay in its location where it is because current owners are doing changes there, right? But we're looking at options to move it where. I don't know exactly where it'll get moved to, but we're still gonna try. The question is the city interested in helping out with the expense of the move of that panel at all? Rough idea, Cobblestone said it'll probably cost somewhere around $5-7 grand, depending on what the move is gonna entail. And I think a fair amount of that is Excel's cost of disconnecting and reconnecting the pole.
So currently, it's out of our name. It's out of the city's name as of last week. Or actually, as of March 17th. As of last week, the ticket has been made to have it completely removed. So currently, it's out of the city's name. And so, because Ag Partners and the current, the owners of that location don't want it there. So, as far as that panel, it's not in the city's name and it's actually being removed. Like, there's nothing on there.
What will it power, just the food vending stations, or what?
All the food vendors.
And that kind of cost effective, them diesel generators, are that expensive to rent for the weekend, or?
The cost of a diesel generator and diesel, they said could be, $500 for the whole weekend, upwards of that. I mean, they have food in there, so it needs to be running 24
Right, oh, absolutely. That'd be $500 for each year? And you're talking 5,000 to 7,000
right? So
to move it?
Like, the idea is Volksfest won't go away, right? It's an
Right.
annual thing, so in the long term, sure, it's a hard hit now, but it's gonna be more cost effective in the long term. I mean, I talked to Egg Partners, and they were sympathetic about needing it, and they were agreeable to just move it right around the corner, to the west side of the building. And I was gonna try and talk to somebody in New Vera, I don't know if you have a contact, Gary, you could put me in contact with, seeing if we could move it to the other side of the fire hall, or old fire hall there. And putting it in the
By
grassy
where
area.
by where the pole is now. That's why I thought you were gonna do it.
We're looking at one of those two areas, don't know which one yet.
So I'm looking at an electrician, could you just take that box and move it?
Where do they wanna move it?
Well,
I know where it's at now, where do they wanna move it, around the corner on the west side of the building? How
Be
does
one
that-
option.
How does that entail 5,000 to 7,000 dollars?
That's actually the cheaper option. That he said wouldn't touch 5. Putting it by New Vera, he said will actually be more, because they're likely gonna have to bore, the line in the ground because of everything else coming in there.
I think, somebody should look into that.
Get some different quotes.
But again, these aren't very detailed, these are, hey, I don't want you to look into this too much, just give me a rough number so I know where I'm talking.
Well, out of the blue, I would say that, I don't know nothing about prices anymore, but I would say I would volunteer my time to the city to do the work that I'm capable of doing.
And how much financial help would you need? Are you gonna help, will JC help with some of the cost too, or you wanna,
So I mean, there's,
should we just put all this?
if we kinda include some of this discussion with C on here, Volksfest committee money. So Volksfest as a whole has brought in some excess funds year after year after year, and the city has been sitting on, just over $12,000 now of Volksfest funds that Lori was waiting until we were able to get a nonprofit started, and then transferred over to this new nonprofit. So at a minimum, there's funds that are committed to us that we could potentially use for this. And then the question was, if the city isn't gonna help any, then we have to use these funds to pay the bill. How do we go about that? Does the bill get written out to the city and the city pays it out of these accounts? Or does the city wanna wipe that account now and not pay anything out of it? Or we have to transfer it to the JCs who's handling things at Tirum, and then when the Volksfest nonprofit is started, then the JCs would have to transfer everything over? Sort of double transfer with more hassle. If everybody's following that, this whole thing is getting to be a little bit of a mess.
Well, I think the city's, if I can say, I think the city's interest was not to be financially involved anymore with the celebration. Not that they aren't in favor of it and everything else, but I think they kind of wanted to get away from these issues about who pays for what and all that kind of stuff. And then I think that money was kind of excess, not excess, it was a fund that we'd had. The reason we had it is because I think, so we had a little money to operate every year, so we have to pay for this and pay for that, they wouldn't have to take it out of the general fund, that's why that excess is there. And I don't know, like for paying for, what do they pay for, I don't know what they pay for. I think they used to have to put money, give the carnival guys some money, or to use, then they have to pay some stuff up front. Didn't they have to do that? They had to, and so that money was kind of used to pay, I don't know how that's gonna be handled, who's gonna pay that upfront cost anymore, is that, are you on the committee? Patrice, are you going to a meeting or who? Yeah, I don't know, I think some of that money might still have to be used to pay some of those costs for money that has to be upfronted.
So,
Is that, because there are gonna be some things, I think there are some costs, like, again, that have to be
Yeah, but
a slot.
ideally, we run Volksfest dead even every year, right? We bring
Okay.
in money for sponsorships
Yeah.
that goes out for
Right.
additional expenses, so.
Right.
Went out for sponsorships this year, that should cover this year's expenses.
Well, but the only I'm saying is though that there are gonna be, and if you're responsible for it, I the point of that $12,000 was, though, it was always meant so that there was some money there to pay some of these costs that needed to be, it's like a cash flow account. And I don't know, if you're taking care of it, maybe we don't need the cash flow account
It
anymore.
was essentially the general fund, right? We would run Volksfest.
Yeah.
Try and run it even, but some years you bring in more sponsorships than
Yeah.
what you would use.
Right,
So we
right.
profited $2,000 this year and it ticked up the general account.
Yeah.
But then the next year, for instance, the year they redid the Miss Goody float.
Yeah.
Right, that was a huge cost in 1 year, so that year we lost like $5,000.
Yeah.
And it ticked down the general account.
Yeah.
But over all these years in total, the city has accumulated.
Yeah.
So
So I guess I'm just trying to tell you that you're gonna, I mean, I think Lori just wanted to get it out of the city's name and let the committee handle it. Is that something you have a bank account and a tax ID number and all that stuff now yet, or not?
No,
Not sure. You don't have that yet?
for Volksfest,
Yeah.
on its own, no.
Okay,
It's something we're still working towards.
okay,
But
okay,
we said this year, the JCs would pick it up and we run everything financially through them.
okay.
So all the sponsorships and all the bills and everything currently is being funneled through the JCs.
I see, okay.
Okay, so I have one thing I would like to add with that, and that would be, since the city took care of the Volksfest for a number of years, are you familiar with a domain? So like when you create a website, so they have goodyvolksfest.com, goodyvolksfest.net, so they reserve all of these names so that another town can't use that same name. So when I gave you that dollar amount, ultimately it's $120 for the year for those domains. So that bill is incorporated into our,
City website.
well, into the city website, but Red Wing Computer Source, who we have all of our domains through for the city part. So I'm gonna just share this with the council. If you're going to take some of the money out of here and move it to the JCs, whatever you choose to do, then we need to figure out if we're gonna get rid of these and have them take it, like we shouldn't clean it out to zero. Because this is coming to the city.
I mean, I think it needs to be looked at, I agree with you, with open eyes on everything. I
Yeah.
mean, is the city backing out of everything completely? And how is that really gonna handle, like, this power panel, for instance, it was in the city's name, and I don't think it was ever the power that was used, or the annual service, or the monthly service fee for the meter was expensed to Volksfest accounts. It was just under the city power.
But it's getting moved because there's a new owner that bought that building
No,
and
I
Ag
know that.
Partners.
I don't
So-
know, I'm just saying expenses here,
Right,
right?
Yeah.
So there's added expenses of Volksfest domain names that were just paid for under the city's accounts, because they have other domain names through the company. Some of the police extra forces the weekend of, I think the city paid for. They weren't out of Volksfest accounts. I mean, to what extreme is the city backing out of everything? And if they do everything, I don't know if things will move forward.
Well, the cops down there were expensed out to the Boat Fest.
Everything was?
Yep.
Okay. Because I wasn't aware of that. I thought some of it was still in the city.
No, it was for that, so that's why we did it that way.
Okay.
As far as this meter goes, the city always paid so much, like for our light poles and all this and that. That was added to that. Now, we're dropping out of that. So, I feel if you want it, the JC should pay for it. Not the city, because the city's not part of that anymore. I don't have an issue you going to Ag Parts and having it on their building or anything like that. But I don't feel it's a city expense.
What about the money though? Don't you wanna
We
get on?
felt at a minimum that it should be the city's expense to disconnect it. Because when you sold the building, it was your interest at that point anyway. So disconnecting the meter should
Oh, we could,
We can run the expense and efforts of moving it and connecting it again, if that's what our interest of doing that.
But let's go back to the point though, the $12,000. I think the idea of it, so you can't, the J.C.'s won't even accept it, or they can't accept it, or do you know the answer to that
We
then?
will, it's just, again, a little bit more hassle.
Yeah, because I think that the idea was Lori,
Moving money twice,
yeah,
but
Lori
that's
didn't
what
wanna
we're
be in
gonna
charge of paying for the king and queens and all that kinda, you know, those typical bills that would come in, because then she felt she was in, is it valid, is not valid, and et cetera, et cetera. I think that was the point of having it given, so that would just get out of, I think, no, maybe I'm
well,
wrong.
that's what it is.
The point of it is to
In
get
case
it
you
out,
got audited.
yeah, get it out of City Hall so that we're not, we don't make those decisions, because we're not really the sponsor of the event, I think.
So this money, the 12,000, whatever it is, where did that come from? Did that?
The
come-
profit over the years.
Yeah.
Because everything just came through here, so,
Yeah.
you'll see that on your Schedule 1, there's a Volks Fest line.
So they might have paid for a pedal pull or whatever your events, she would handle the money for that, right? I'm just talking the pedal pull of the car, whatever you do with that.
Yep.
Lawnmower, things you do, whatever. She would handle those fees. She would, and if there's say, I'm just throwing out numbers, if the fees generated $1,000 and the prizes were $500, there might be 500 extra that, and again, I'm just using it for example, there might be a little extra that built up. Is that accurate, Traven, or is that?
Okay, but it wasn't donated money.
No, well,
This was.
it depends what you call about donations, because like,
It was from sponsorship.
yeah, so like Teresa,
So it's not the city's money.
No.
it was not taxpayer money. It wasn't generated from any taxpayers' money. It was from activities related to sponsorships or their activities of Volks Fest. So we didn't.
My understanding from talking with Lori, this is a while ago now, but that was the big hit on the audit, was mainly bringing in money for this and then, again, issuing things out and if the city was going to, again, this has been a while, but it's some along the lines of if the city was going to pay money for this, then they had to go through and get a vote from the public for expensive money to a city event or something like that. And then we've been essentially running it illegally for how many years, but no one doing it.
Well, I'm not saying, maybe it wasn't the best accounting practices.
Well,
Where does that power come from? Out of that little pump house?
It comes right from a pole and goes to a new meter right above the panel.
Yeah, it ran all the way across the old
The
fire
meter
department
there
roof.
only
It's a separate line.
There's a pole across the street that they run a line over to?
No,
between New Vera and the old fire department.
No.
That's what, who owns that old pump house now?
What's the old pump, the old?
The old City Hall.
The old city,
Yeah, the old city hall.
Yeah, my brother and I bought that.
Okay,
Yep.
now, the power doesn't come out of
No.
that.
Nope, it runs across the roof of it over to the building, to Ag Partners. Yeah, because the building, the power that goes into the fire department is a separate power. It's totally separate.
Well, and so I get the power from the back, right?
yeah,
On the alley behind there?
there's a pole
Right in
between,
the center,
there's a pole
right in the
between
middle.
Navera and the old fire hall.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, that's where it's coming, power from,
Yep.
and runs across.
Yeah, it comes from the alley to there and then splits and goes there and our
And
building.
Ag Partners is willing to let you mount it on their building,
I talked to them 3 weeks ago, yeah.
okay? And so the spot that it is, that's Ag Partners, right?
It's currently on Egg Partner's wall.
But that's probably not legal because of you wanting the other building.
Well,
Because it would stick out into your property.
Right, exactly.
But-
The roof, when we repair the roof that's leaking into the other building, it has to go
Well,
past.
here's my thought, and you take it for what it's worth. But as long as Ag Partners is willing to let you mount it on their building, why don't somebody just run a pipe from the back on their concrete building around and down to a meter to the dealer, and there's no way that can cost $5,000.
I think we agree. If you're keeping all the existing equipment and you just move it right around the corner, it's moving 10 feet.
Yeah, you know, you might even wanna change a little of that, but
But it
I
shouldn't,
don't
it
see
shouldn't
why,
cost that much.
I don't see why the city or the Lions or the JCs, they're in charge of this, would want to bore underground, be very expensive. I don't know. what-
Because we're the wires,
15.
yeah,
15 a foot.
So, I mean, to me, I would talk to Egg Partners and see if they were good with running a pipe along their building, above your building, on the wall, just run a pipe back.
no, it goes right to the corner, it's out front, all you have to do is just run a piece of conduit around.
The pipe comes right to, I mean,
It's
I
right on
gotta
the,
look at it.
and it just goes straight down the wall, and that's
Yeah.
where it gets in underneath the roof line.
NSP is attached to Egg Partners building there,
Yes,
and that goes across your roof.
Yep.
Then I see no problem, and
yeah, just
I-
to go right
I don't
around the
wanna
corner and down is all you
object
have to do.
Anybody else's idea, but why can't you just leave it connected where it
It
is?
is,
Pipe
exactly.
it around the front and put the meter on the front if Egg Partners is good with
Yeah.
that.
They'd go with
I
it.
mean, that's,
That is what I would like to do.
I mean,
That's
that's
the
the other
point.
way, the boring and all
That's-
that,
that's
gonna
a-
cost you
It's
thousands
a
of
complete secondary, but hey, you gotta look at more options, because I can't let this fall through.
Well, no, you can't. I'm just giving my opinion of what I
Yeah.
think you should maybe.
Because Excel wouldn't even have to be involved then, because where it goes to the
Well, they have to
building.
be
Oh,
involved,
exactly.
whenever you have a hookup.
Yeah.
You have to, but that's not gonna be a big.
But they wouldn't have to move all the
Their
line.
charge is not gonna be, I mean, they're,
Yeah.
unless they say you can't have that line going across the building.
So now,
That would be the only objection I could see them coming up with.
so now you want the service to stay right there?
Well, no, it would have to be around the corner, but where Excel comes on, it ties into the building, it's above the roof line. We just have to move the conduit around the corner and then down.
So the meter, that you want the meter still to be off?
Yeah, the meter, yeah, they would,
Meter
yeah,
have to
so
move
that,
with the panel around.
yep, absolutely, everything would have to move. So Excel,
Because otherwise,
they wouldn't have to,
the panel and everything past the wall would be on your property. That, I mean, that's the way they look at that stuff.
yeah,
You
and
know, you can't,
My brother.
I ran into that in Redmond, you know, a guy wanted to put a service on the side of his building, and his neighbor says, you can't put that service there, because your panel and your meter is gonna stick out, and the property line is right on the building, which I assume is probably what's happening there. But I think,
Well, the roof will
it
be.
sounds like Excel is kind of cooperating, and I thought even if Excel said, well, we don't wanna run that line across that roof anymore, because there's some liability there.
Oh, yeah.
You could have them run to the back of the Egg Partners building, run the pipe, you know,
Just conduit all the way across.
I don't, you know, I'm so far removed from all this stuff, I don't know jack anymore.
No matter what, or no matter where, from that pole, no matter how they go to Egg Partners, it's still gonna be going across the roof of that old fire hall, that roof is,
Yeah.
it's something else, you know.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You know, it's all added on.
Free up there.
Yeah,
Last year.
it's,
But our decision is what to do with this money, right?
Yep.
12,000.
I think so.
Yeah, and getting to that, I'm thinking, even though it's an extra hassle for them, that we give it to them, send it to them.
I think that's, then yeah, I think that's probably what the point of it, Lori's was always, and Jill is, that let them guys handle the business affairs of the celebration.
Right. Okay, I got one question, Jill. You got $120.93 check
Mhm.
out of there. Where did that go?
That's for the liens.
So if
And that's
We
every
give-
year?
So we give them that, we're taking that off too. We can have it, but they're paying for it.
Yeah, so I've written the check. So currently now, instead of,
You wrote the check, but coded it to that account.
correct.
Yeah.
So currently there's $11,931.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So every year that, if we keep that the way it is, then they have to write us a check up for this.
Correct.
You understand that?
Or they just switch the domain. I mean, the JC's has our website domain through Red Wing Computer as well. They can just switch those
Sure.
domains over to our account.
They're-
Well, you might as well bring up the police then too. what do you know?
Oh, yeah, for,
They might even bring it up, or they wait, let's discuss it now.
yeah, what you gonna do with the police?
You're sure that we did not
You-
absorb
you-
that in our budget, Kerry?
I'll have, you could go
I
back.
think we should look at that issue and see what amount, just so you know what it is, so my suggestion is, let's see what it is, so we know what the amount is, then we can come back and maybe have a discussion, because I'm not sure that was,
Well, we did, I know part of it was because it was overtime for a lot of them.
well, in the posse and all that kind of stuff too.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm kinda with you, Dick, I don't think it was all
Well,
expense to that account.
I don't think it was either, but
Well,
let's just,
But I could be
check.
wrong, I'm not saying. but I
We'll
know
check,
for
we'll
sure.
check it out.
Let's get what is the intent of, just talk about, is the intent of the council not to keep on doing what we've been doing, except for we don't wanna handle the money, is that a fair statement, or not?
This is all pretty new to me, so I.
Well, I mean, but
Yeah, I
the
don't
question
know.
is, if we've already been paying $3,000 for the extra policing, and it's already in our numbers, and it's not in this account, I think it's fair for him to know whether it's, cause he has to plan, do we have to plan for an extra $3,000? I'm just throwing that number out of that line, I mean, I just say, you wanna know if you got a plan for having this extra expense, correct?
Yeah.
I think we should look at the numbers and then come back and figure that out.
Okay.
But that's what I would say to make most sense.
Good deal.
Good there.
You'll probably start working on that panel.
So to sum all that up, essentially, you're saying, let's move the approximate 12,000, whatever it comes out to finally, out, and then the city is washed to that account. Nothing
Well,
else they gotta worry about.
I think that's a consensus,
I
but
think that's,
Yeah, well,
Let you use it.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Just thinking through, I mean, I think that is the sum of everything we just went over.
okay, yeah, we'll check the police. See if that's gonna be an expense to you or not.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any council concerns?
Just gonna ask, are we still looking at messy houses and dealing with
Yep.
that?
We Tony just followed up on a couple yesterday, and then I was dealing through, so, Tony's gonna follow up on the next video for one. But we've been cracking down on that, and I've talked to a couple, so.
I did have somebody approach me as well as the drive through the backside of the trailer park, what they wanted the city to take over. I guess it's just really bad back there.
Oh, it is, totally.
It's
So
bad.
what did they come up with? Did anybody, did they say anything to the city, anything, nothing?
Did they ever talk to
I
you, Reese?
had a couple people say it is just treacherous back there.
Oh, there's,
Because of what? I don't know.
There's potholes that.
well, let's just look at the map, but so everybody understands.
yeah,
We have Patrice, when you go down Manor Avenue, part of that property is the city's, maybe you can pull it up, just to remind
I know
everybody.
there's a-
Yeah, there's a cutoff there,
Yeah.
there's a
Okay.
cutoff right around when you go around the corner,
Okay.
and the rest of it is really a private drive.
I thought they were gonna fix it up.
And I thought when,
Yes.
I
When
thought,
when the new people moved in.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I see they've been trimming trees, they've been doing a lot of work down in the park, but they nothing else, they could get some gravel hauled in there and.
well, we've done, I think this city has done that before,
and it
just as
just keeps going
a
away.
stopgap measure, just so it can,
You know?
because that sometimes it almost becomes untravelable.
Oh,
Well,
I've
we
heard from a
put
couple
melons and
people.
everything else in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
just to help them out.
You know,
So,
Yeah, because when he was here, he sounded like he was gonna kind of take care of that.
Yeah, you take care and then turn it over to the city. And
yeah, so
then we
it's
would maintain-
approximately, I'd say it's approximately,
yeah, 2 years.
right here,
Yep.
Okay.
that's where the, I don't know if Scanlon's is or not, Carrie, you know, I think it's right here is where it ends. and that's-
Right there lying.
Yeah, yeah, the line, right here.
it says Manor Avenue, but then this here, where it says 6-4, but that's actually not Manor Avenue, that's a private driveway.
And that's horrible.
Oh, yeah, he says, yeah.
And we aren't able to go in there and maintain it, unless there's some kind of the only way we could do anything is some kind of emergency public safety, that we gotta go in and put some gravel in, just because if there's a fire there or something happens, it's gotta be passable, at least for emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
I would think. And I don't know, maybe you might wanna consider at least hauling some gravel in there, or talking to them, or do something, because if it's that bad, it's this time of the year, it's gonna be bad, I assume.
So, that is, pretty bad.
Well, I just didn't know if that guy had contacted anybody to see what they were gonna do with it or not, because he sounded like he was gonna do something and then get ahold of the city about it.
Yeah. He has to see if we're gonna do it, and we said, no,
Well,
because it's
yeah.
not ours.
Right.
And then he said if he did it, we could turn it over to the city, and we'd make a city street out of it.
Right.
That's just like a private developer.
Well,
So has he been doing it okay otherwise? I mean, you said he's been
yeah,
trimming trees.
oh yeah,
and
you
then
can see they're
doing-
down there doing a lot of work. I
Yeah.
mean, they're, but I just didn't know, somebody had said something the other day about that street, and I said, that's not the city street, so. it's,
Public concerns. Joe?
Well, just so you know, I'm not a public speaker. My ninth grade teacher told me when I got done at the end of ninth grade, she says, I hope whatever you're gonna do in the future has nothing to do with talking in front of people. I'm really good at speech. But I felt like this was something that needed to be brought up. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because I think if it happens again in the future, we should get to the bottom of things. So, and I have to write this down because I am not a speaker, and I forget everything I was gonna do or say. So, first of all, I would like to thank everyone here for all your hard work, including all of the time you put in to benefit the city of Goodhue. I think you're all basically doing a pretty good job. I think everybody here knows if I have something on my mind, I will tell you about it. So just so you know, I've been watching the city council meetings on YouTube. So needless to say, I was shocked to hear that Terry Buck had resigned. My first thought was the city has lost a dedicated council person that has worked hard for Goodhue. She's willing to ask a tough question, not always go with the flow. She approaches situations and decisions in a thoughtful way for the good of our community. I sincerely hope that one of the council members or Mayor Bean asks the question, why did she resign? And not just take the resignation as, well, she must have had her reasons. By asking the question, this could be a growth opportunity for the council as a whole. I'm going to finish by saying the City of Goodhue Council, City of Goodhue has lost a hardworking, dedicated council member that's not afraid to ask tough questions on behalf of the citizens. Thank you. I wanted to make it short and sweet, but, you know, I also felt like maybe we should have looked into the situation, why she did. I have no idea, but I just think that in the future, if somebody resigns without an obvious health reason, moving out of town, maybe the council and the mayor should, you know, dig into it and find out why. Thank you for.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't know if it's proper now, but I was on the sign committee. I just give a little update. I've been working with Ryan Manufacturing to design a stainless steel pole and sign. That way you wouldn't have to replace the sign every 10, 15 years. You could just put a wrap on it, you know, and I'm thinking in the long run, that'd be a much better design. because you go to some of these towns, and I see the ones in Broda coming in on 52, it's all falling down wrong. You know, it hasn't been there that long, but, I was thinking, and I just got into talking to him, so I haven't got any details, but, you know, my wife says I got too much time on my hands. So I was laying in bed and I said, hey, why don't we make it a stainless steel pole with a stainless piece of stainless steel and we just put a wrap on it. And, yeah.
I'm just gonna bring into it, City of Red Wing talked to me the other day about it. And Lynn Nardinger says, have you call him in Red Wing? That's what they do for their signs is wrapped. Yeah. And he says they use aluminum, but instead.
Well, you know, it's just something
Yeah.
that's not gonna rot, is what I was getting at.
But
Maybe
aluminum's way
aluminum
cheaper.
would be- I guess it would be a lot cheaper.
Way cheaper.
And he,
But aluminum can also oxidate, so, you know, you got that.
yeah, but he said just give him a call and
I will.
he says he
Thank
could
you.
also get you on who they use for wrapping.
Well, you know what, it's been really hard, I called 3 or 4 different sign companies, hey, maybe want to get back to you, well, one moved to Iowa, and I've talked back and forth with him, and then you don't hear anything for 2 months, and just trying to speed up the process a little so we can get something going on the signs, because I think, our town deserves to be recognized when people are driving in.
Zumbrota just redid one of theirs as well, and that's all they do is put a wrap on it. The guy that wraps it, lives in Zumbrota, he used to work with me.
I can't, it doesn't.
So, yeah, I would just,
Yeah, I'll do that, I'll call in, thank you.
yeah, thank you.
And listening.
Can I get a motion to pay the bills?
Go through them all second. It'll take me a half hour to go over.
Motion made and second to pay the bills, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. The next council meeting is gonna be go back to 6 o'clock. Because Lent is over with. So, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made and second to adjourn, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
We're still live. We're still live. Jim, let's wait until the